Hey, this is Mike Matthews from muscleforlife.com, and in this short video I want to talk about the best way to work out your chest. This is a lagging chest is probably the most common complaint that I hear about from guys, whether it be chest hasn't developed enough in terms of muscle size or in terms of muscle strength. I hear both. And that's probably because, I mean, the pecs really only get trained when you're doing your push, whereas, if you're deadlifting, you're training your entire body except for your pecs. If you're squatting every week, you're training a bit more than just your legs when you're squatting. But your chest really only gets trained when you're pushing, and really mainly only gets trained if you're doing some sort of press, like if you're or a bench, a horizontal type press. A military press doesn't really train your pecs. So the first thing that I've found makes for very effective chest training, just like anything else really in the body, is you have to emphasize heavy lifting. You have to emphasize heavy compound lifting. Back before I knew what I was doing, when I used to just kind of do bro workouts and magazine workouts and high rep stuff and drop sets and supersets and blah blah blah, the majority of my chest sets would be higher rep, and they would be isolation exercises. I would do a bunch of flies, I would do a bunch of pec deck stuff, I would drop set it, I would superset with push-ups, I would do all kinds of things except heavy barbell pressing and heavy dumbbell pressing, and especially heavy incline pressing. And that's another important point. And by the way, heavy, when I say emphasize heavy lifting, I mean no more than 6 reps. 4 to 6 reps, 5 to 7 reps, that's really the range. So I guess you could say no more than 7 reps. That's about 80-85% of your 1 rep max, and that's heavy pressing, and that's what you want to be emphasizing in your workouts. You want to be doing at least 9 sets of, I'd say the bare minimum would be 6 sets of heavy compound pressing in your chest workouts, but 9 would be better. And then you can, if you want to do some higher rep stuff, do 3 sets of higher rep at the end of the workout, but really emphasize the heavy compound lifting. So now back to the upper chest point, incline pressing, right? So there is an upper chest. There's a muscle that kind of runs like this. It's called the clavicular pectoralis, I believe. And you can actually see it when, if you look at pictures of me, especially pictures like, when I'm I cut down to about 6 or 7% for summer, and then you can really see it. It's like it's just a strip of muscle right there. And that muscle, for the longest time, I had, I made decent chest development or chest gains, even doing things kind of wrong because I just stuck with it for so long, and genetically my chest kind of came up kind of quickly. But I had a very bottom heavy chest. I had a chest where it was kind of just flat up here, and then all of a sudden it came out down here. And it looks weird. When you actually look for it, it looks pretty odd, as opposed to a chest that is fuller all the way up, where it almost has that flat kind of armor plate look, where it just comes out and then down and then in. Incline pressing is the key there. You want to be doing a lot of incline pressing. I almost always start my chest workouts with heavy incline pressing, usually at least with 3 sets, usually with 6 sets. So like these days, I'm starting with, it depends on, because of how I'm training, like my first 2 sets, I do my warm-up, but my first 2 sets are very heavyweight. It's 2 to 3 rep, almost like powerlifting, and then I'm moving into some 4 to 6, and then finishing with some higher rep. This is a style of periodization that I talk about in a book of mine that is coming out soon. It's the sequel to Bigger, Leaner, Stronger. It's called Beyond Bigger, Leaner, Stronger, and it takes the Bigger, Leaner, Stronger program and then periodizes it for advanced weightlifters. So sometimes I will be starting with flat press because of the very heavy, but more often than not, I'm starting with incline. So I'm pressing very heavy incline weight, and then I'm moving to my flat. And this is because that upper chest area really does not develop fully without a lot of incline pressing, and it takes a lot more than you might think. It's a small muscle. It's like trying to build your shoulders. When you try to build your shoulders naturally, it's a slow grind. It just is. So I find that upper chest, that little muscle, it's a slow grind. And the pec major, the big muscle, grows much faster. So if you don't do any incline pressing, or you do it at the end of your workout, or you do a very high rep, what will happen is your pec major is just going to outgrow this smaller muscle up here, and you're going to have an imbalanced looking chest. So emphasize the incline pressing in your workouts. Don't do decline pressing. Decline pressing sucks. It's a reduced range of motion by quite a bit. It's the standard thing of guys, they want to just load up a bunch of weight and just move it this far over and over and over. That is a waste of time. You don't need to train the bottom of your chest at all. It's just there is no bottom muscle. You have pec major and you have this clavicular pectoralis, and that's it. And I just don't see what you achieve with decline pressing other than reducing the effectiveness of the exercise, because less range of motion means less work that your muscles have to do, means less gains. Very simple. So I never do decline pressing. I only do incline and flat pressing. In terms of barbell versus dumbbell, I would say both are equally effective, and they train the muscles in a little bit different ways. Obviously, dumbbells, you have additional stabilization that needs to occur because your hands aren't connected on a bar. And I always do both. I've just for the fun of it, I've done only one or the other for several months at a time, just to see if there were, how my body responded. And I can't say I really noticed any big benefit of one way or another. Only doing barbell pressing, only doing dumbbell pressing. Both worked, and I found most effective is to combine them in your workouts. And on dumbbells, one little point of range of motion, what I like to do is, so a lot of people, they just go like, they go to, a lot of people, they just go to 90 degrees, and we're going to talk about that in a second, and then back up. What I like to do with dumbbells is I'll come and I actually rotate my hands like this, so I can get all the way down, a full stretch. You can't really do that like this. It would hurt your shoulder. But if you turn your hands in on the way down, you can get down here, which is really a full range of motion, and then press back up like that. So that's how I like to do it with dumbbells. In terms of stopping at 90 degrees, it's completely unnecessary. People will say that, you're going to hurt your shoulders. That's not true. Hurt your shoulders if you go below 90 degrees. That's not true. How you hurt your shoulders is poor form. And the most common mistake that people make that leads to shoulder injuries or, strains, whatever, is, and this is on the, well, this is really, it applies to both barbell and dumbbell. The biggest mistake is letting the elbows flare out like this. So you get going, right, and then you're down here, and as you're pushing up, it gets harder, and you start doing this. That places more and more strain on the shoulder socket. That's what causes most shoulder injuries. Most pressing injuries are caused by that. Too much weight, and then you're struggling, you flare the elbows, you can hurt yourself. So what you want to do is you want to keep your elbows. I find, and you got to find what's comfortable for you. Powerlifters keep them very in, like I would say about 20 degrees. I find somewhere around 40 degrees is a bit more comfortable for me. So it's like this, and you really just have to consciously be aware of it when you're pressing, and just kind of drill that in your muscle memory to just keep that, even when you're struggling, you don't want to do this. Just keep it there and struggle. And if you have a spotter, you're fine. If they need to help you out, they help you out. But don't compromise by going like this, because that is the natural instinct. When you want to get it up, you start just doing that. So you got to just keep, be aware of that. So there's that problem. And then also some people, like when they're at the top of their reps, they'll do this movement. They'll roll, because you want to have an arch in your back when you're on the bench. So you can fit you want to be able to fit a fist. You have your butt on the bench, your back is a little bit arched, about a fist, so that you can fit under there, and then your shoulder blades are pinched and on the bench. That's the position that you maintain. Some people at the top, they break that pinched shoulder blade on the bench position by going like this. They start the rep by kind of shrugging it up. That's very bad for your shoulders as well, especially when you're loading up a bunch of weight. Some people also do it at the top of the rep. They press up, and they don't stop here. They stop there. See if you can see what I'm doing. You don't want to be doing any of that. The end of your rep is to here, with your shoulder blades pinched back on the bench, right? So you're in this position, and then it's back down. None of this stuff. Those are the two main points, and those are the two big mistakes that people make that lead to shoulder issues. If you just don't make those mistakes, you will be able to use a full range of motion on the bench press, and not hurt your shoulders. So another point here is training volume. As your intensity increases, as you lift more weights, you want to reduce the volume of your workouts, or you'll end up overtraining. What I found has worked best for me and for now the thousands and thousands of people that I've communicated with and that have followed my program and stuff is about 60, anywhere from 50 to 70 heavy reps per workout. And if you're going to be doing, and by heavy, that's that 4 to 6, you're working 80 to 85% of your 1 rep max. Let's say if you're down around 50 and you want to add some higher rep stuff after, that's okay. Once again, I would only probably add 20, 25 reps of higher rep at the end. So that would be a workout. It's anywhere from 9 to 12 total sets for the workout, and in that workout, you're emphasizing heavy pressing. I mean, if you're dealing with a lagging chest, I would say you have no need to do flies. You have no need to do push-ups. You have no need to do the pec deck or any machines. Your exercises are incline barbell press, incline dumbbell press, flat barbell press, flat dumbbell press, and weighted dips, or dips depending on how many you can do. That's it. Those are your exercises. And your goal is to build your strength on those exercises with heavier weights. That is your goal. Yeah, those are the exercises that you're going to want to be focusing on, and that's the kind of like the volume that you're looking for. In terms of frequency, I found that you won't be able to perform that intensive a workout twice a week. I mean, you will be able to in the beginning, but you will end up overtraining at some point. So if you want, what a lot of people do on my program is they will, on their Monday will be their chest day, and they will do 9 to 12 sets, emphasize heavy lifting, and then on Thursday they'll do 3 additional sets, incline presses, and this is what I commonly recommend when people are really having issues growing their chest, is that they do a short workout, just 3 sets, heavy sets, on a Thursday. So they give their chest 3 or so days to heal up, and then they hit it again with just 3 sets. You can try, some people tend to, and this is just seems to be on an individual basis, those additional 3 sets can be also heavy, 80-85% of your 1 rep max. Incline pressing, I just recommend just doing more incline. And you can also try a bit higher, about 70% of 1 rep max, 10 or 12 rep, and see which your body responds better to. There is an individual element to this that can make a difference. I mean, you may not notice a difference, so I would just go, in that case, just go with what you prefer. I always prefer heavy lifting over high rep. I did high rep stuff for years and years, and was really underwhelmed with the gains that I made, and then was very, very surprised to see how well heavy lifting worked, especially heavy compound lifting. So yeah, that pretty much covers everything on the best way to work out your chest to make it bigger and stronger. So give these tips a go, and let me know how it goes. And if you like my videos and you like what I have to say, you can find me over my website, muscleforlife.com. And there are different ways for you to get in touch with me on the website, or you can find me on social media and such, and I always respond to everyone's questions, and I get a lot of good ideas for videos and articles and such from people. So just feel free to get in touch. So thanks again, and see you in the next video.